Hey Daisy, can you hear me? I'm not muted, am I? I'll turn that music down a bit for you, love. Hi Jen, how are you, sweetheart? So what side's that, Daisy? The side to say he's guilty? I don't know how any side is unfavourable because none of us really know. It can't be unfavourable because none of us were there. We don't know. Don't say sadly. How are you, Jen? Great to see you, sweetheart. I don't think that's unfavourable side, Daisy, at all. We all are entitled to our opinions and our thoughts. So to me, it's not unfavourable. I just have questions about a lot of things. However, like you, I don't know whether he was there or not. I still wonder, even if I think their stuff's not right, a lot of it doesn't mean to say that he's not guilty or he's not involved somehow. Yeah, not here, Daisy. Sorry, I won't tolerate that. Jen, to be honest, I really don't know. The only thing that concerns me is only thing. Hi T, how are you, sweetheart? Glad to see you. Thank you. I'm so happy to be back. Trust me, so happy. I missed it so much. It is my sanity, to be quite honest. But it's great to see you here. Thank you for joining us. Jen, do I believe he's guilty? I don't know. I've debated that back and forth. I won't say he's not guilty. I think, however, there is others involved in this. Thank you, Daisy. Do I believe he did this on his own? If it is him, yeah. No, I don't. Don't believe he was capable of doing this on his own. I'd be very shocked if he did. It just concerns me how the media is throwing out stuff and it's not in their opinion. They don't mention speculation or anything else. They say it like it's absolute, like they know that for certain. That's what bothers me. The other thing that bothers me in this is, and I know everybody's going to jump on me, so I'll be with you, Daisy. The survivors, how quick they were taken out of the scenario and said they had nothing to do with it. If they were two males in that house, and I am going to put this to everyone, if that was two male roommates, would they have been cleared so quickly? That's what bothers me. The whole 8 hours and that, and no, I'm not victim blaming or anything. I mean, God bless them. I'm glad nothing happened to them. But if you're going to take a scenario, if we look at, you all know the Summer Wells case, right? If we look at how quick everybody blamed or is so sure that it's Candace and Don that are involved in Summer's case, right? That they did something to her. So if we put them in that house, if they were the roommates, do you think everybody would be tiptoeing around them? Or two males that were there? I've seen this time after time in cases. They're crucified. The only thing that bothers me is how much media is crucifying them. That's what bothers me. Not to mention the evidence and some of the police that are involved in this, the more that comes up. And now my concern is, I don't know if you've heard, I'm guessing you have, about Jen. I just read that comment, sweetheart. You won't be shut down here. And I'm going to say this now. Nobody's opinion is going to be shut down here. I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody has the right to say, if you don't believe he's innocent. I had never said he's innocent, and I won't, because I don't know. And I'm not trying to sit on the fence. I really don't know. Like I said, it's the evidence that bothers me. Do I think he's somehow involved? I do, actually. I just don't think he did this, either one, on his own, or two, he actually did it at all. But I think he was involved in it. I'm glad you do, Jen. Because that should be the idea of it. If we don't debate back and forth, then how does anybody move and think and put our heads together about things? Nothing will change. We all have to believe in everybody's opinions here and listen to everybody. It's not fair if it's one-sided at all. So, yeah, getting back to that, sorry, lost train of thought there, is the whole, they said now that Ethan's was blocking the door for them to get in, and that they had to push the door open. The girls couldn't get it open, so they called his best friend. I'm not going to say his name. I will not do that out of respect for him. And I know other channels have, but I won't. However, the girls couldn't push it open, so they rang the best friend of Ethan's. He turned up, pushed the door open enough to peek in. Saw that, told him to get the F out of there and call 911. So he did. He was the one that spoke to them. The thing that concerns me is at that point, or even prior, when they were trying to get into a room, why didn't any of them go up to Kaylee's and Madison's room? Or try calling them, or see where they were, even after they saw that neighbour girl whose car was messed. His car was messed with before the unaliving. I believe that was him getting braver, perhaps. Could have been. Because nobody knows who that was. But you could be right. Yeah, I wish I knew too, Daisy. I certainly do. I would hate to think that this guy gets the death sentence, yet anybody else that was involved or was there and helped do it walks away. The same as the other three unidentified male DNA that they have not chased up like they did Brian's DNA. That's what bothers me, especially if you go back to when he was originally arrested, and they said, apparently, that he said Has anybody else been arrested? Now, if two of them unknown DNAs, were near the bodies, which they were according to the PCA, then why did they not, or still haven't, found out or done a familiar genealogy on them like they did him to find out who they are? Because they took the friend's DNA and everything. I don't understand that. I have got notes after notes after notes going through the PCA and everything. And in the same respect, I would hate to see, if Brian was involved, him walk off too. They somehow get him off and he walks away because they haven't got their ducks in a row or the right evidence or enough evidence. I actually forgot about that car. Didn't they take clothes out of that car? Her clothing or something, if I remember correctly, or dump her clothing? I can't remember now. Am I still? Yep, I'm still there. I think the unknown DNA can also just be DNA. And on another item. Yeah, I agree, Daisy, but it was still, two of them were still near the bodies. Okay, Jen, take care, sweetheart. Have a great day. Thanks for being here. Yeah, see, Daisy, there's no way that they can rule out that they don't need to find out whose DNA it is. If it was near the bodies, then you'd be finding out whose DNA it was. There's just things that, like I said, if they don't have the evidence right, then he could get off of this. And if he's involved, that's a problem. And I believe if it was anybody's son that was in his predicament, or anybody's child that was one of them four, you would want to make sure the police had everything right and that the evidence was that strong that 100% they weren't going to walk away. And like I said, it bothers me that mainstream media are coming out with, which blew my mind, that turned around and said he was so strong in his belief about being not a vegetarian, God, I can't think. I'll think of it in a minute. That because he knew that if he ate meat, he was worried about being cannibalistic. Does that mean vegan? Does that mean every vegan would be worried about that? I was a vegetarian for nearly 10 years and I hated the smell of meat. I wouldn't make food around anywhere where meat was prepared. So I think they'll find that's like nearly all vegans and all mostly vegetarians too. But to say that, it's like, are you kidding me? find what I watched that on. It was such a ridiculous thing to say, but they're saying things like they're 100% absolute. And it's they haven't done this, like, I know they do it with other cases, don't get me wrong, but not as much as what they've done it to him. I'm trying to reserve judgment until I see more evidence, not just what we have to date. It's hard because I have so many questions, and that's where I stand too, T. 100%. That's exactly where I stand. The thing that reserves me is I don't know what other evidence they have, but what they have put out has flaws in it. That's right, Daisy, we have no facts. Oh, other than, according to Christy, that it was his friend that opened up the door. The fact that they didn't call 911 for 8 hours, I don't even think the timeline is fact at this point, sadly, because it changed. The picture of the car they put out, by God, I hope they have better pictures and video of that car. And see, that bothers me too. Like I said, when they originally put that out to look for a white Elantra, 2011, 2013, I kept saying, because they had no plates to it, and I kept saying, what is it about that Elantra that they would be able to tell that Elantra from every other Elantra? Because it's stock. His car is a stock standard Elantra. How many did they say were out there? 20,000+ or something, some ridiculous amount. So how can they say that his one is exactly the right one? There's no damage to it. There's nothing different on it. There's no sticker on it that stands out. So how do you tell them apart? That's what I can't work that out, how they would tell them apart. So I'm just going to check my history and see if I can find this when I watched it. With all the fake pics and audios, who knows what was passed around. So true, Daisy. And that's what you got to be careful of. But I'm going by what's on the PCA. I'm going by absolutely what was told from Christy to one of the channels, and he interviewed her. The other one is the one where Tolson was involved in another case where he bodged evidence, which is concerning. I mean, if they did that here, they wouldn't be in the police force anymore. The KR. Oh, Kylie Rodney. Silly me. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. Boy, did that go down a rabbit hole. Absolute rabbit hole. Yeah, I found that absolutely ridiculous that they could bodge evidence, and even the CCT footage of his car, which, if you haven't seen it, Truth and Transparency has it. The same as Sleuthy also has it. They have the PCA and everything, where Dr. Moore, I think, is now taking them to court, but the confession was thrown out because it was coerced. And if he's was involved in that, which he was, how is he able to work on any other case? How is he still in the police force? It's the same as, here, if I was in a house where that happened, yeah, it was. I think it was 2020, if I remember correctly. And it's still going on. And they continue to harass him, sadly. If this case happened here and I was in that house, I would not be cleared until they had a suspect, trust me, or until I took a lie detector test, and then they would still have me as a suspect. And once again, I am not victim blaming or saying they had anything to do with it, but none of us really know. Hi, CC, how are you, sweetheart? Oh, no problem, you can be late, love, I'll let you. Thank you for coming. It's great to see you. Yeah, so tell me, how can he stay in the police force over there? I am great, thank you. So, CC, I'll ask you, what side are you sitting on with Brian Kohberger? Not that it matters here. You can be on any side, love. We need people that are going to debate it. Let me turn that music down a bit, guys. A little bit more. So maybe this is not sure. Yep, I agree with that. But it should have come. They found out back then. That's the silly part about it. The judge dismissed the case and said it was a coerced thing, and there were 3 of them involved. So that's baffled me. Why was that not instant dismissal? And see, if they threatened him to charge him with first-degree murder. Now think about it. That was also a DP case. To me, that's like hiring somebody to unalive somebody. I got what you meant. Can't have the kids hiding. But yeah, they're doing, anybody that on the police force that will do that to a DP case, to me, should be charged with what you and I would be if we went and hired somebody to unalive somebody for us. I'm sorry. It's just baffled me how he's still on the police force, because I know how quick they get rid of him off the police force here for misconduct or doing anything like that. There's no if, buts, or maybe. It's straight out the door. So, I wish I could remember what one it's in. Oh, any of you seen Sleuthy's channel at all? Because she has a interview with Chris from his high school, and he talks about about Brian explaining what he thought about him. It blows my mind, Daisy. I know we've had corrupt coppers here and they get away with it because the other coppers won't speak up and say anything. However, when it comes out in a court case and the judge says, no, you coerced that, and there's solicitors and barristers there, don't you think then it would be taken higher up and they would be looked into? And then after it's dismissed, they go and harass him. They sit outside his family business. Okay, T. I only found it because I was just seeing what else was around. Yeah, that's what I believe too, Daisy. Once they F up, they should be out. And like I said, it happens here. Well, I'll rephrase that. Like I said, they would get away with it, providing all the other coppers shut up. And it's, they're too frightened to say anything. However, when it's at the point where a judge is saying, no, you coerced that, then there are going to be many people going to the higher up department about these police and making them being looked into. Who are the names of this happening to? You mean the victims? It was a chiropractor was unalived, and they had a witness that saw the guy running from there, or person, I'll say a person, running from there, and they had a description of the car. Him and his wife seen it. They give the police the description of the car. Tolson, sorry, which is the copper that worked on this case, was involved in taking statements, etc., etc. He was also the one that coerced this other chiropractor who didn't even know this guy, never met him, never crossed paths with him, and blamed him for it and got him to sign a false confession that he did it. He was also the one that harassed him after the judge had dismissed it. Look at the US Gov. I felt loud. It doesn't happen like that. The doctor that they did it to was Dr. Moore. I wonder if I could get it up, actually. I should have thought to bring that up before I started talking about it. Sorry, guys. Bear with me for a sec, guys. Sorry. Oh, Bonner's Ferry. Okay. Okay. So, oh yeah, I know that, CC. 100% love. Over 10. Oh yeah. And I wonder why people don't talk. It's like, no, you can talk. We can protect you. Yeah, no, not in a million years. So this is Brian Drake. This was the chiropractor that was unalived. And see, they say in this that the prosecutor officer uncovered compelling evidence and motive for the shooting. The release said, but law enforcement has decided not to release those details to avoid interfering in traditional proceedings because it was coerced and they bodged up the evidence. They changed the description of the car that the people give, which was supposedly a white and tan truck. They changed, white and tan Ford, they said. They changed that statement to just a white no, they said white and tan Tacoma, sorry. Dr. Moore had a white Ford. So they changed it to white. They changed the description of the person running from the scene. They changed that. Even the skin colour apparently was wrong. They apparently tampered with CCT footage. Yet they're still in the police force, like I said. So, but when this is what they did. They went out to the media and said, yes, we've got this person. We know the motive and all the rest of it. Like I said, the guy didn't know him at all. Never met him. They never crossed paths or anything. And the chiropractor that was unalived apparently had been involved, apparently, with doing the wrong thing with his patients. And yeah, so it was probably, at a guess, one of the patient's boyfriends or something, I would say, at a guess. However, let me see if I can find the one where they say he was where they dismissed the case. There it is. Charges dismissed. There was, T. There was. In the evidence that they have for this, it's very similar to the evidence they have for the Idaho 4 case. That's what made me prick my ears up when I heard this. Like I said, the CCT footage, the description, I mean, I'm sorry, but a description of a athlete male clad in black with bushy eyebrows describes my son. Oh, 6 foot, sorry, 5'9" to 6 foot. Describes my son. If he put a mask on, trust me, it describes my son. I mean, it describes a lot of males, actually. Ones that don't, do their eyebrows especially. Hey, Miss Brandy, how are you, sweet? Great to see you. TNT and Sleuth both did excellent shows on this. Yeah. Well, that's where I got the information from, actually. I first heard it on TNT, Truth and Transparency, and was reading over it as she showed it, and it's like, wow, that just blows my mind. I am great, thank you, Miss Brandy. Absolutely great. But like I said, he's involved in this case, and the fact that there's similarities, although you don't know what, I do know he was involved with apparently going to this autopsy for this one, and the papers were lost, or the report was lost. I know he was involved in taking statements, which concerns me, which is similar to what he did in this case. So, yeah, the fact that it got dismissed and yet they still stalked him. Thanks, T. I am so grateful to be back. I definitely missed being on here and chatting, especially catching up with everybody. And yes, I know I get sidetracked with my people in chat, but I don't care. The channel is meant to be for everybody. But yes, I was told that I get sidetracked easily with the people in chat, but that's what I'm here for. I missed you too, Brandy, trust me. You guys are my sanity. Keep me sane. Not that I ever confess to be sane. But yes, there definitely has been some great panels on this, but I like to play devil's advocate and be on two sides. Like I said, I'm not going to say he's guilty, and I'm not going to say he's innocent either, because none of us really know. And to say absolutely he's innocent, no, you can't. None of us can. If they can resolve the things, and I'm guessing we go to court, till it's taken to court and we hear all the evidence, then if this is the best evidence they have, then they've got problems. Then we all should question it. And then you would have to think, I pray to God he doesn't walk out of this if he's involved. And that's where I'm coming from, is that if he is involved, you don't want him, none of us want him to walk. And if he isn't involved, then he doesn't deserve to be put away either, or have the thought that his life is going to be over. But none of us can say absolute he did or he didn't. Not in a million years. Does anybody want to come up and join me? in a chit-chat. Oh, didn't mean to hit that hard. There's the link if you want to come up and join me. Happy for anybody to come up. Oh, yeah, Daisy, it certainly is a big case. Yeah, I do too, Miss Brandy. Whether there's drugs involved or not, or none of us really know, but my other thought was, like I said, I don't think, or he went in and did this on his own for one, and I don't think he was with the person that did it. Maybe he was just driving the car. Maybe that's why he was there, to pick up somebody. Maybe he knows who did it too, and he drove there to pick him up. But there's a lot in this. I mean, I wrote down pages and pages of things that I found wrong. I have questions about. I don't find wrong. I'll rephrase that, because we don't know if it is wrong. There's like, even in the PCA, like, just questions. And like I said, it just amazes me that people are tiptoeing about around now 8 hours. I don't know if anybody's gay enough to say anything or not, but I believe if that was two males in that house, they wouldn't be tiptoeing around. Yep, it is, Miss Brandy. The more we know, the worse it's getting, or the more confusing it's getting. What have they got? What don't they have? My issue is, if you're going to track down whose DNA that is, track down the other 3 DNAs, especially the 2 that were near the victims. Be absolute in all of it, not just in some of it. Be thorough in all of it, not just in some of it. I was telling my hubby about the case, and he said a couple of things that have me thinking, but I have to go check a few things. Okay, T, be interested to know what he said. Hey, Wisdom, how are you? Great to see you. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, I'd love to know what he thinks. I'd love to know what other people think. Once upon a crime. How are you, love? I would jump up with you, but too much family goings on. Just taking a break from it all. That's all right. Once upon a crime. Anybody's welcome to jump up. Then ears want to, but you don't have to. One, I did it. Hi, how are you? Great to see you here, Zelda. Thank you for coming. I don't want anybody to come up if they don't want to. Don't feel forced in any way. One, I did this to finally get out what I think about this case and the questions I have, and to catch up with everybody. Zelda and Once Upon a. That's where I was confused. Do I call you Once Upon a or Crime Time? Yeah, I'm just. Let me grab this. these pages are what I wrote down, guys. Oh, that's the other thing that gets me, is that I understand, yes, they hadn't, whoever it was, whether it be Brian or somebody else, had a knife. I get that. But how did none of them screamed so loud or yell for help in that time? And I've taken everything into account, but if you're unaliving somebody, you can't hold the other one. So did they know the person? That doesn't take Brian out of the equation either. That's not what I'm trying to do. Oh, thank you, Brandy. Yes, I very much appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. I'm glad you all come, and thank you so much, Brandy, for doing that. But if you saw, like, I would understand it if they were asleep and you wake up while it's happening to one person. I get that, because you would be stunned and it takes a moment to take in what's happening. However, if you're not asleep, and apparently they weren't because Dana was on TikTok, then how would they not scream? See, it's the same as, I don't believe Kaylee and Madison were in the same bed either. I think Kaylee might have run into Madison's room, but that's my opinion. That's why the dog was in her room. Yeah, me too, Zelda. But in saying that, I'll rephrase that because I'm different. I was trained in emergency first aid, car accidents and all the rest of it. I tend to go and find out things. I don't run from things. Okay, I do not know if this is true or not, but would like to get it verified. I heard through some grapevines that Brian worked in that first lab as part of one of his classes. Has anyone heard about first lab at the police station you're talking about? Something to do with the police station? Is that what you're talking about, once upon a crime? Yeah, me too, Zelda. That's it. That's the major thing that concerns me this whole 8 hours. If you saw somebody walking past your room that you didn't recognise, and after hearing whimpering and whatnot, wouldn't you go and say or yell out? Because she did yell out. Who was that? Are you all right? If not, yell it out. The other thing is, if you're going into a house, and this is my biggest issue, that you have never been into, regardless of we know all the lights were off, and yet it was still illuminated, then you're going to open every closed door to make sure that nobody's in the room. You're not leaving any witnesses behind or anything. And if you're after one particular person or 2 particular people, aren't you going to check every room that has a closed door on it? Yet he walked past Dylan's room. 3 times, if not more. One when he walked in and went upstairs, when he come downstairs, and then on the way back out. That's what's confusing me. No one was screaming, so they say. Yeah, that's what confuses me. That if that camera next door picked up the dog barking and a thud, how was no screaming picked up? How did neighbours not hear any screaming? Yeah, me too, Brandy. Oh, I didn't hear that once upon a... I really don't know. I know he went for a job at the police, one of the police stations there, to help them with communications data, but I haven't heard anything about him used to work at that lab. That, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't wait 8 seconds, hun, let alone 8 minutes. Sorry. Thanks, Cece. I would fight. There's something very fishy with that whole story. And the clad, yeah, that's what gets me. I have a daughter who's 22, and she wouldn't speak like that. And that's the other thing that bothers me. Was it Tolson that took her statement? Because if it was, then I'm concerned. And it would be sad to think that this guy is involved, Brian, and through doing the wrong thing, or one of them doing the wrong thing, he gets off. That is a worry. But yeah, the whole 8-hour thing bothers me. Yeah, I have 4 daughters. None of them speak like that, and I'm older than that. But I was trying to take it from the youngest one. Yeah, neither do I, Cece. But at the point somebody's been unalived, I think you'd sober up pretty quick, and that'd be the last thing on your mind. At a guess. I know it would be for me. I know it would be for my children. But see, I also looked at it as 8 hours is a good amount of time to clean up, isn't it? No, Daisy, neither have I. It's not even how I would speak. But I guess if you were... No, I can't say in the army or that either. I have heard some police speak like that, but not all. Yeah. Yeah, I had the same feeling. Once upon, I really do. What is clad? Dressed in black. All in black. I'll rephrase that. You're covered in black. Like our silly anthem here. Our home is girt by seas. How many people say, don't move, we got you girt, which means surrounded? I couldn't imagine the police standing out the front saying, "Don't move, we've got you good," opposed to surrounded. Sorry, just my mind wandering. But yeah, the whole not screaming thing bothers me. The 8 hours bothers me. The DNA only on the stud, and that was the other thing. The DNA on metal, right? That's DNA too, isn't it? Looked this up the other day, was reading it. Sorry for the noise of the paper and everything, guys. Sherlock. Yes, we're going back to that era. There you go. There's one. I just got to make sure it's from a Science Direct. Okay, so I'll share this with you all. I agree, Miss Brandy. I absolutely agree. So if you read here, metal surfaces are difficult substrates for trace DNA recovery and amplification. Metal cautions interact with DNA via complex intercalation. Yep. I'm not going through this. In other words, it's hard, but DNA on metal cautions are also integral to the control of gene expressions with chromosomal DNA 24, and studies have shown that the nucleotide base pairs in DNA are able to form an ionic bond with certain metals. I know the one I was reading the other day saying it depends on the metal of how quick it will degrade, and it doesn't last long on metal. I don't believe Bethany is going to turn up for this case either. I mean, they couldn't even get her to turn up for that one, although they were supposed to go to her, from what I know, and nothing's been said about that either. That's what I reckon too. He's a great choice for any case, let's be honest. They don't allow those two. Thank you very much once upon. That's okay, love. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us. I hope to see you again. Have a great day. Enjoy your children. Thank you for your support, love. Oh my God, wisdom. He needs to be cloned a million times over. Well, they would be one of the two main witnesses. They couldn't, there's no way they could do a court case without them, you would think. They were in that house when this happened. They also called over people, so there's no way. It's as silly as them saying in the last court case that when Anne brought up about having the training stuff for the ones that were interviewed by that policeman, and they said they wouldn't be called, but they could change their mind, however, and call them. In other words, we're going to say we're not going to call them when they're the main witnesses. We'll say we're not going to call them, and at the last minute we'll call them, so you're unprepared. None of it makes sense. Yep. They are made. There's no way they could run a court case without calling them as witnesses. And if they don't, then they wouldn't leave it for chance that Anne would call them, or they'd be called upon by the defence, because they would have the right to call them, and they're not going to leave them open to that. They would want to control the questioning. So that doesn't make sense either. They kind of sat to watch them through that court case, and it was like, oh yeah, Judge, but I could have come up with better arguments myself, or come back to what Anne was doing. Yet these are prosecutioners. Santa sat there and did nothing. And the woman that did speak, made it sound like, one, it was an effort, and two, that she didn't have to put very, very much effort into it, and she thought she'd get away with it. Oh no, we're not going to call them, but we do have the right to change our mind. So yeah, but if she wants them training records, then she'd want everybody's training records. That made no sense. And it was a poor argument. Then Anne wants that other DNA too, the unknown DNA. So I wonder if she'll track down who that belongs to. That would be good. I would love them to do that, or somebody to do that. Because it'd be a shame that somebody else, like I said, was involved in this, and their DNA sitting there, and they've had it all this time and just gone, no, it's all right, we got Brian, don't worry about it. We don't need it. But going back to my whole list of stuff, the other thing is the sheath, because you can't have it both ways. You can't say Brian's smart enough to not leave any DNA in that house, any fingerprints, any blood trail in his car or outside, or even the way he went out, because they still don't know which way he left. It was only that Dylan said she saw him heading to that sliding door, but didn't see him go out of it. But nonetheless, there's no blood trail, no hair, nothing. One measly footprint that was found the second time, not the first time they went over that house, the second time. So if he was smart enough to do that, now you want to convince me that he, one, either carried that sheath in or carried the knife in the sheath, not put it on his belt. He carried it in, got up into there, took that knife out and sat that sheath down, and then forgot it. Yeah, they did, but they didn't say whose. I do know about that, and we don't know if it was her dog or not. And I'm at a guess, the way they are and the way they like to make it sound obsolete that he did it, at a guess, if that was that dog's and matched up to Kayleigh's dog, I would say at a guess they would make sure everybody knew that. But yeah, so he's smart enough to do all this, but carry a sheath in. Somehow managed to touch it every other time, but only get DNA on the snap button, press studs as we call them, and forget about it and leave it there. On top of that, I don't believe that, for a start, because you can't have it both ways. You can't be smart but dumb enough to do that. Nobody in their right mind, even if it's your first time, is going to carry the sheath in. You're going to have it connected somewhere, because you wouldn't have to know in your mind. And he's not somebody that doesn't know. He's book smart about this. Hi, Life, Love and True Crime. How are you, love? Thank you, sweetheart. I am good and I'm glad to be back, love. So this guy is, like I said, studies all this stuff and that. There's no way he's going to walk in carrying that. There's no way he's just going to have DNA on the snap of that. And there's no way he's going to put that down and forget about it. He's going to be smart enough to know, as I would, and I'm not into murdering people and I don't study it, I should say. So you're going to know you need to attach that to something, because when you take it out and you start using that knife, you're not going to be hanging on to this in case somebody comes at you. It does make me wonder what the state told the grand jury. But that's a big worry of mine. So it does make for a good argument that the DNA on that press stud might have been his, but you only got to create reasonable doubt that, yeah, okay, he sold it a couple of weeks ago, or he gave it away a couple of weeks ago, or he touched somebody's. Reasonable doubt would be easy if that. I know if I was a juror just on this alone, I would have reasonable doubt. And I don't want to have reasonable doubt. What else did I find going through that? Oh, they're opening the doors. Like I said, if he's never been there and that's the first time he's been in that house, or anybody that did this, I couldn't imagine him walking past a closed door unless somebody had told them the layout of the house. And yes, I know you can get it on the internet. You are still going to check who is behind them closed doors. If you knew the layout and you knew that room you were walking past was a bedroom, you would still make sure, one, that nobody was there. And the other thing is, him walking into a house on his own, and they said that he's gone there and checked it out. Okay, fine. But he didn't know who was in the house that night. For one guy to walk in there to a known party house and see a new car there, he wouldn't know if there were 10 fellas in that house. Oh, so glad to hear that, but so sorry that you had to go through that, sweetheart. You deserve so much better than that. But I'm glad you're away from it now. Just be careful, love. Please be careful. It breaks my heart. So glad you're out of that. But like I said, please do be careful. That especially now you've got away from there. Don't blame yourself for all of it. Remember, look, I was in an abusive relationship too, in abusive marriage, love. Please know that that belongs with them, not you. No matter how long you stayed there, 2.5 years, I was there for quite a while, a lot longer than that, married. But trust me, you don't take on their problems. And we stay because we believe we can change them, we can help them, we can make them better. Because we're nurturers. And it's not about us. Even when they do get with somebody else and you think, oh my God, now she's going to change them, or they do change, has nothing to do with you. They don't change for a start, very rarely. But you, my dear, deserve so much more in life. You don't deserve that. Nobody deserves that. And like I said, I am so glad you were out of it. But please stay safe. You're mopping, Daisy. That is so great, love and life, but please be careful. Especially if this is recent, because that's when they tend to really go off. So please make sure you're looked after and people know where you are at all times. You're more than welcome, sweetheart. That's what we're here for. And we want the best for you. Everybody here deserves the best. It's what makes us survivors. That's right, Miss Brandy, the Survivors Club. Absolutely, 100%. You are beautiful, you are strong, and you have survived. And exactly what wisdom said, and Brandy. You are loved here. And you are supported anytime, love. And you are a survivor. 100%. And we are all here to listen to you and to help in any way we can. See, another one. 100%, see? And another one. It's not that unusual. But it's hard, especially when you leave the first time, because of the things they've mentally said to you. Nobody wants you. You wouldn't survive without me, and so on and so forth. 100% you'll survive without them. I would rather be in now. I would rather be in solitary confinement than with another male like that. Personally, I have been on my own now for the last 18 years, and I have never been happier. But that's me. I hope, life and love, you heal yourself, believe in yourself, believe in who you are, find out who you are, because we tend to lose ourselves in relationships, us women. But I hope you find out who you are, sweetheart. And when you do, make sure you love yourself. And then further down the line, I hope you find somebody to share who you are with. They certainly are. I always tell someone where I'm going. He was going to take a girl to court to make me jealous. I was like, what? No, oh, would I be jealous of? There is nothing better. Because they panic at this point because they're losing their hold on you. They're losing that control. And these kind of men do not like that. They freak out. That's why I say be very careful. And trust me, please, if he turns up or if he rings you, you have that order. By all means, please hear me when I say this. If he rings you or he turns up there and begs you not to call the police, and I can say this because a lot of us will do it that's been in a relationship, don't allow your heart to overrule your head, sweetheart, and say, oh, okay, I don't want him to be locked up or anything, and let him get away with it. Please protect yourself at all times now, love. That's right. And that's what we all should do. It's 100%. CC, they certainly do. Love the control. That's all it's about. But there are a lot of women that when they leave these relationships, they don't realise they've lost themselves. Even when you're not in an abusive relationship, women tend to, when they're in a relationship, take on the things the male does, and they do things for their partners more than men do in a lot of cases. I'll not say all of them. And we tend to drop who we are along the way. And then when we're left, I think that's one of our greatest fears is not knowing who we are. And we've got to learn what our likes are, our dislikes, whether we like this before we met them. It's funny the things we take on, the likes and dislikes, that weren't ours, it was theirs. That's right, Daisy, 100%. That is also right. 100%, CC. And good friends aren't the ones that want to take you out and say, oh, let's go and find somebody for you. Trust me, they're not good friends. The ones that want to take you out and just think that if you just find somebody else, you'll be over it. That's great to hear, love, life and love. It's 100%. That constant drumming of, you're worthless, you'll never be good for anybody, nobody else wants you, I'm everything to you, you should be grateful that I'm with you. Yes, yes, yes. I'm the only man that will ever love you. Put me in solitary confinement now. I'll be happier. No, I can joke like that now. 100% CC. Absolutely 100%. That's how they keep you. That's why we stay for so long, because we're so broken. And that little voice in our head, %. And that's it in a nutshell. They make you so broken. I know, CC. I hope I didn't trigger anything, sweetheart. And I don't mean to. Guys, I hope I'm not triggering anything for you. Like I said, I've been on my own, away from mine now for 18 years, so. And I'll tend to joke about it. There are things that will trigger me, like there would be for all you guys too. But it doesn't trigger me enough now that I can't contain myself or lose control about it or get angry or get upset. That's 100% right, Daisy. 100% right. But isn't it funny when they've dragged us down and we've lost all our self-worth and who we are? We don't treat anybody else like that because we couldn't imagine it. We know what it's like. And this excuse of their parent, their dad or their mother treat them like that, I'm so sick of hearing that excuse, because if you knew what it was like, then why would you inflict it as an adult onto somebody else? It belongs with them and them only. We can't help them. Me too, Cece. You're very much welcome, life and love. It's what I said. This channel is for survivors. 100%. And we will always stop and talk to anybody that is going through anything. Sorry to say, I will stop what I'm talking about to acknowledge you and to give you support. Like I said, this channel is all of ours, not mine. It belongs to all of us. And the ladies in here have been through a lot too and can help in so many ways, or give support, great support in so many ways. I second that, CC. Second that. We are glad you're here, Life and Love. 100% Daisy. Somebody else can have him. It doesn't take away that hurt that you feel. And don't think there's something wrong with you if you feel that. You feel you love him and that. You ask any one of these ladies that have been through it, when you leave, trust me, it's funny how the mind will forget what you've been through and remind you that you loved him, and then it will remind you again. But if you dealt with that for 2.5 years, loved the hurt that you're going to feel, which won't be as hard as what you've been through. Me too, CC. It's unbelievable the strength that you have. And you continue to have after you've been through it. And Zelda said it in a nutshell. The whole walking out the door without having to ask, not having to ask for money, not being to ask where you're going, why you're going there. This is only how long you can be. Being called words I will not use that aren't dirty words, but to make you feel less than. Yeah, 100% wisdom. It is time to focus on yourself. Yeah, it does give you that. And I'm glad it has. But in them times of doubt, when you feel that twinge of sadness and hurt, and you think of him, please remind yourself what he'd done to you for them 2.5 years, if you can. Don't allow your thoughts or your heart to get you into, your heart most of all, to get you into a false sense of security, sweetheart. A 100% you made the right choice. And if I can make it through and out of one, anybody can. I'm not the person I used to be before I went into that relationship, and these ladies will tell you the same. And like these ladies, you find a strength you didn't know you had. Yep. The bad the bad definitely outweighs the good. But you know what your heart's like in that quiet time when you start thinking about them and the feelings all get brought up, how quick them bad times are pushed. And I'm not saying by us, it's just how the mind works. You got to bring them bad times back and remember why you left. And remember you are worth more than what he can give you. And you are worth more than the things he does to you or the way he makes you feel. Love should be a two-way street. You should feel love from somebody. You should feel like there's nothing you could do wrong with them. They should lift you up, not pull you down. If they're pulling you down, they're not worth staying with, sweetheart. And that's it, Zelda. But life and love, please know that you have plenty of support here at any time with any one of these ladies, with myself. You are loved here. You are part of our family here. And if we can help you in any way, trust us, we'll do it. Absolutely. We will get you through anything. Yes, Daisy, I think you and I have a very similar history, huh? You're more than welcome, life and love. More than welcome, and you don't have to thank us. That's just what we do. But no, we love and care about you, sweetheart. 100%. All of us. So let me see what else I have in here. Well, the unknown DNA I mentioned. Oh, Dylan said she was woken by the dog at 4 a.m. Yet the dog was barking at 4:17 a.m. So was the dog barking from 4 a.m. to 4:17 a.m. on and off? Is what I would like to know. Or did he only bark at 4:17 when it was heard on the video next door? Because that we can't know, because that video only started then, apparently. So, but nobody's mentioned the dog was barking other than when it was heard on the cameras. I covered the description that it even describes my son. The wrong year for that car was put out. And if you're going off of that photo of the car, like I said, there's nothing distinct about his car versus every other white Elantra. So I want to know how they can say absolute it was his car. He has no connection to anyone in the house. Of course, the 8 hours missing. Oh, God, I skipped myself then. Don't know how much of that ring cam, I believe, till Control if they even use it. Well, that Ring camera was apparently set off by a cat, if I remember correctly. Thank you, CC, sweetheart. I appreciate that. Zelda, I believe if the DNA is all they have in the car, there is a problem. Even with the phone, if you read the PCA, it says approximately around their area. And if you look at the Daybell case, we know that they can pinpoint close enough to where he was. We know that. I know that. So why are we still at approximately near the area or on that tower? That he could have just been driving past there. And that's what I'm hoping too, Zelda, that they definitely have something or more evidence that they has not been released that is a game changer, that is an absolute, or more pieces to the puzzle. Hugs to you too, Life. And that's what I'm doing, Love and Life, questioning what they do have on him. In saying that, as I said, I'm not saying he's guilty and I'm not saying he's innocent. I don't know what else they have for one. Two, I don't know if he's guilty or not. However, in saying that, none of us do. Do I believe he's involved if he didn't do it? Yes. I believe he has some involvement or some knowledge of it, even if it was to go there and pick up the person that did it. I couldn't imagine him driving his car and pulling up out the front to go and do this either. And that's what we're hoping. I was laughing at them bringing up the whole his sister's phone when he had a drug problem. Yeah, that was how many years ago. Isn't it funny how they bring up such petty stuff? And I think that's what's irking me most in this case is the mainstream media, the amount of rubbish that they are bringing up about him, like Miss Coffin Doffer Doofer. Actually, I'll be more dignified than that and call her by her name. That says, he was trained for this. Not, I believe, not in my opinion. It is absolute. She's making it sound absolute, which is tainting the jury pool in my eyes. Yeah, don't know, Zelda. That's got me. It's the same as because he's vegan and he's so OCD about it, I'll say. He won't have anything that has meat cooked in it and all the rest of it because he would go into a rage and become cannibalistic. Are you kidding me? Does that mean every vegan does that? As I explained earlier, I was a vegetarian for nearly 10 years, and trust me, I did not have anything to do with meat, couldn't stand the smell of meat, would not prepare any of my meals where meat had been around. So does that mean I should be worried that I'm not chewing on somebody's arm or leg at this point? Well, see, I think if they had more than this, to shut all the doubters up, I believe they would have made sure something was leaked, let's say, to say, no, this is what we got. This is absolute. There's no getting out of this. Especially considering his defence, his lawyer is Anne, who's not a silly woman either. No, that's right. No, neither am I. Life and love. I think she just goes with the flow, whatever makes her look good. She says things that she shouldn't be saying. I don't think much of her at all. I'm amazed they haven't reined her in for a start. And like I said, if we were out there saying stuff about this like it was absolute without facts and without saying, in my opinion, or we suspect, etc., do you know how quick they would rape us over the coals? Yet for some reason she can get away with saying that, like, she knows for certain he was trained to do this unaliving. Are you kidding me? To come up with that ridiculous thing of he is so scared of becoming a cannibal because that's why he's so strict on the whole meat thing. Are you kidding me? Where are you coming up with this crap? You've just put down every vegetarian and every vegan who can't handle the smell of meat. No, I know who we're talking about. It's all right, love and life. I don't want to know how to spell her last name. I think she's so wrong. The same as I had all the respect in the world for News Nation and to this. And it seems to be ongoing. And to me, for them to be screaming about other people saying the wrong thing, they are the ones that are going to taint the jury pool. Well, I wondered that too. Wisdom. And my other thought was, if you've never been to that house, and I'm going to get raked over the coals for this, I know this. If you've never been there, you don't know what time they go to bed, etc., etc. Would it be far-fetched to say they were tipped off, hey, you can come now, they're all in bed? Them two are up there, them two are there. Is it really that far-fetched to think one of them could be involved in it? Or is it the fact that they're young and very pretty girls that nobody wants to go there? In my opinion. If someone set him up, they did a crappy job. No, but it's better than nothing. But even not set him up, I don't know. I think, in my opinion, I think the two survivors know more than they're saying. I hope not. I truly hope not. I truly hope I'm wrong. And I apologise if I am. But like every other case, I would say the same thing if it was two males there. And the sad part is more people would be saying the same thing if them roommates were males. And not good-looking ones. Let's be a little bit honest here. The same as you would have if they weren't pretty females. Now we'll get really honest. Do you think people would be tiptoeing around them? Well, that's right, Daisy. Why was it done? See, they can't find motive either. And with every crime, there's a motive. There's a reason. Whether they're going off, whether they've had a fight with the person, whether they're breaking up with the person, whether it's passionate, whether the person attacked them, etc., etc. There's always motive. Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to do, CC. And like I said, I'm not on the side of he's innocent. I can't say, like I said, I think you'd be a fool to say he's innocent. To outright say he's innocent, unless you were there, you can't say that. To say he's guilty, same thing applies. But like I said, I think he knows something about it. He's involved somehow. Well, that's right, Daisy. You would think this is the stupidity in this case, if you think about it, right? If they say Kaylee was the target, then once they succeeded upstairs, they could have walked downstairs and walked out. So then people come up with this theory that Ethan crossed paths with him. Well, don't believe that either, because it happened in their bedroom. And he calmly walked past Dylan on the way out. So therefore he went looking for them, for Ethan and Dana. He didn't meet them out in the kitchen or in front of Dylan's room. He's actually gone to their room. Otherwise, he would have unalived them in that passageway, or at least one of them. So that theory has to be wrong. So was it all for the target? Was it the three girls? And like I said, and I'll keep saying, if you've gone into that house even if you have planned to that house, any door that you go past that could possibly be a bedroom and the door is shut, you're going to open that door. If you don't know where they all sleep, you're going to open them doors looking for them. You can't tell me that he just potlucked it. That's what I think too, Zelda. Oh, that's the other thing that bothers me, is the whole demolition of the house. The judge stopped it from being cleaned, if you remember. Why would they pull that house down before the court case? Why wouldn't they allow the jury to be taken through that house? That would work in their favour, really, if you think about it, for them to get the complete picture of the route that he supposedly took, etc., etc. Yeah, they can. They do take them to crime scenes and through there. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't believe that house should be pulled down at all. That's right, Zelda. And that's where it lies. It's not about how any of us feel. It's not about who's on the side of him being right, being guilty or not guilty. It's about what evidence they have and what they can prove. It's about if he is legitimately involved, then get it right, boys. Don't leave anything for chance. If he's not, then I say the same thing. Make sure you're thorough in everything you do so that this guy doesn't get locked up for something he didn't do and vice versa, so he doesn't walk away from something he may have done. Well, the university's the one that's actually pulling it down, which I don't understand. I'm guessing not many people want to live in it after that, but I would still think they would have, unless Ligh has asked them to pull it down. I just find it strange. But then I found it strange that Ligh was in there taking out stuff out of the house, furniture and whatnot. I found that strange that they were doing that. Because the two girls wanted their stuff back. I wouldn't want one ounce of stuff I had in that house back, let alone police picking it up for me and moving it back to my place. Sorry. But I've never seen police do that either, actually. It's the same as they forensically went over that house the first time, and then the second time forensically went back over that house and find a footprint. I find that odd. Why didn't you find it the first time? What I don't know, I'm missing. I don't need. Thank you. That's 100% Daisy. Oh, you can keep it. Not wanting anything out of that house. No clothes, no TV, no nothing. Not a stitch of things. Would rather just walk away. Leave it all there. Just get rid of it. 100% life and love. That's what I believe too. They should be able to go through that house. I feel that if I was on the jury, and I can only speak from me, I would want to go there. I would want to see it. I would want to know the layout, how big the rooms were, the path they supposedly said he walked, everything. And I would want to go there so I could literally see it for it to sink in. Unlike pictures, it then becomes real. You then get a grasp of what took place or what they're saying took place. But I'm one of them people that like to see things for my own eyes, not just pictures of it. Yeah, no, the bad vibes can stay there. No, they weren't, Daisy. None of them. Although, no, that's wrong. Doesn't Ethan and Zana's bedroom actually line up with not Dylan's bedroom, Bethany's? Isn't she under their bedroom, if I remember correctly? It's life and love. I'm not into bad energy. I release bad energy. Not a bad energy collector. I like good energy. That positive, her bed, their Zana's bedroom sits over the top of Bethany's. Yeah, that's right. Wisdom, that's exactly what I was thinking. No, I know. I'm sure that not 100% though. I thought that Bethany's room was the room when you walk in, that her room was the one to the right, and there was a spare room on the same floor to the left, which used to be Dylan's old room, right? Oh, is it? Hi, Donna. How are you, sweetheart? Thank you for coming. Yeah, Dylan's was in front of the stairs, the one he walked past 3 times apparently, and didn't once open the door or try to open the door. Yet never been there. Didn't know whose room it was. Didn't know where any of the people were apparently. No, you would still open the door. I believe if you've never been in the house and you're looking for people because you don't know where they are, you are not going to walk past closed doors. No matter what you think they are, you are going to check. Takes a quick set to fly the door open. Yet if you follow the PCA, he walks in there, supposedly, walks straight upstairs to the girls upstairs. And I still reckon that Kaylee was in her own room with the dog. but then comes downstairs, walks past Dylan's room again and goes to Zaina's room, but doesn't check anywhere else. It's strange. Strange. No screaming, no. Unless there was somebody else with you that had a very similar knife and they were both, that would be the only thing that would make sense, is that there were two there with a knife, one-on-one. Yeah, I saw that too, Donna. I heard about that the other day, actually. And that bothers me. Yeah, that's what crossed my mind too, because he didn't get out that, let's say Brian didn't get out that bedroom after he was unalived because he was up against the door, which commonsensically tells you that poor Ethan had to have got to that door, obviously trying to get out to get help, and fell there. You could hear whimpering. You could hear somebody saying, "I'm here to help you," but you couldn't. You're telling me he wasn't making any noise after that or prior to that, making his way to the door? That's what bothers me, is the whole 8-hour wait. So, like I said, 8 hours is a good time to clean up too, especially if you knew who did it. And see, if you knew who did it, here's a theory that I'm going to throw out. If you had arranged somebody to do it, or you knew who did it, what better way to not take DNA out of a house or anything is this: you went to a shower there, you showered there, cleaned up, bagged all your clothes there and took them. Well, it couldn't have been too great because she only saw bushy eyebrows. She didn't describe his eyes or anything else. And see, there's no, if you've unalived 4 people with a knife, you'd have blood on you. There's no trail of which way he went out. Like I said, it was only Dylan saying he was heading towards the sliding door. She actually doesn't say that's the way he went out. But there's no blood trail. There's no shoe trail, no nothing. Yep, Daisy, wouldn't you think? I mean, he has distinct eyes, let's be honest. So if you're seeing the bushy eyebrows, you're going to notice his eyes. So they would be something else you would describe, for sure. Not just bushy eyebrows. You don't just see the bushy eyebrows. Them eyes would, like, look right through you. Yep. CC, it is horrible. She described, not only did she describe Bert, she described my son, who's in Australia, not over there. But really thinking, if somebody had that description right and picked up your son on that description, would you accept that? Yes, he matches the description. Bushy eyebrows, dressed in black, athlete built, 5 foot, between 5'9", 6 foot more. Yeah, you just described my son. Thanks. Oh no, there was a height, 5'9". There was a height. I wrote it down what she said. I also have the PCA here. But yeah. Oh, let's do her words per se. Let's get it right, Lisa. Okay, what she says is, saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. The M's described the figure as 5'10" or taller. Not 5'9", I apologise. Male, not very muscular, but athletically built, with bushy eyebrows. That's it. End of description. Which describes my son, like I said, perfectly. Just on that bit alone, at least. That's what I say. It's 75% of men, especially men that don't do the whole cutting of their eyebrows and that, which some don't. No, them eyes are so distinct, Wisdom. That them eyes would be the first thing you would notice about him. And if you're seeing bushy eyebrows, you have enough light to see bushy eyebrows and all that. You're going to notice them eyes. Because I had no doubt in that scenario, his eyes would be piercing right through you. They would be something you would never forget. And that's what I thought from the beginning too, Donna. That's what I said. Did they get it, whether it was Brian or somebody else, were they tipped off now you can turn up? This is where they are. And see, the other thing that bugs me is if you weren't concerned about this guy enough to call 911 or check on where he come from, like Zana or Ethan, then why did you notice everything about him? None of us know. Daisy? None of us know. There's just so many things. Like I said, my biggest thing is I'll guarantee you if they were two males in that house, they would not have been cleared that fast. If they were two not so very pretty girls, wouldn't have been cleared that fast. And everybody would be crucifying them. Two, things just don't add up with what they say. It didn't bother you enough to go and check on Ethan or Xana where he come from, but it bothered you enough to remember what he looked like, what he was wearing. Yeah, mine too. Life and Love certainly describes one of my sons. Trust me. Yeah, I don't know. The same as I don't know what makes them say Brian drove out of there at 4:20. Why did they put the event ended at 4:25, an extra 5 minutes later? According to the roommate's phone, what is on their phone that they come up with that? And that's what I keep coming back to, Daisy. It's what I keep coming back to. I keep coming up with exactly the same thing. And it seems to be if you bring them up, you're crucified. I'm willing to take that risk. Like I said, I'm not victim blaming. I am doing what we would do with anybody else that was in that house. Ask why. Even the scenario of them calling his best friend over. Okay, so you're calling Zaina. Now, one would think you would have heard Zaina's phone ringing in that room. So you've gone to open that door. Can't open it. So for you to think they weren't out, you would have had to heard that phone. So why then were you trying to, what upset you enough that you needed to absolutely get into that room? What made you try that door? And then when you were banging and couldn't arouse them, why did you ring a friend and not the police or an ambulance going, oh my God, they're in the room and I can't wake them up? Okay, fair enough, you don't know anything's happened to them, but at the point you're not waking them up, wouldn't you be ringing 911 first? Yep, it is here too. Yep, that's what I think too, Donna. But I also think, would he have not been making noise if he was going towards the door to try and get help or to get out to them? And like I said, according to Dylan, she heard somebody say, I'm here to help you. She heard the whimpering, but not him struggling in any way, shape, or form. Not the thud that happened at 4:17, by the way, that the next door camera heard. She didn't hear any of that. But if she was stunned, that means that her gut feeling was telling her there's something wrong. At the point he left, wouldn't you have gone and checked on them or yelled out, "Hey, who was that? Do you know him?" Isn't that what you would have done? That's the bit I don't understand. If he stunned her, or like the first report said, she was in shock, then that would tell you she had a gut feeling something was wrong. And at no point did she yell out to them or anything else, because then it changed from she wasn't in shock. So if she wasn't in shock and she was slightly stunned, like, which is what we all do, wouldn't you then go, "God, who was that? I got an awful feeling from him. Hey, Zaina. Hey, Ethan. Who was that?" Even if you didn't want to go to their door. And to hear, like I said, to hear everything else, but yet that camera catches the thud at 4:17 and the dog barking, yet Dylan mentions nothing about that thud. Obviously didn't hear it because she didn't yell out to any of them to see if they were all right. It could have been, Donna. Yeah, or who are you? Why aren't they walking you out? Hey, I haven't met you before. Nothing, unless they learn, not to impose on others' friends. I can understand that, but still, wouldn't you? There's something a bit off about this, because I happened to take a good look at him, I might add, not just shut my door and mind my own business. At that point, I stood there long enough to get a good look at him. So it doesn't add up either way you go. If you're going to take notice of him and they say she was stunned, that would tell you she knew something wasn't right. You can't have it both ways. Or they're hiding for a reason. Yeah, you can't have it both ways. You can't have, "I wasn't that worried about it that I didn't call the police and I went to sleep and then dealt with it 8 hours later," to, "It bothered me enough that I got a good look at him and I didn't turn away from him while he was walking past me." It's 3:56 and the rooster is crowing. Oh my God, needs clock teaching. Is that 3:56 where you are, or I'm at a loss? You lost me with that one, Donna, but the whole rooster is crowing and oh my God, I'm guessing that's where you are. Yeah, there's something, like I said, you can't have it both ways. Gut feeling is an amazing thing, and that flight or fight thing happens even when you know nothing has happened. You see a person and you get that feeling. But if you're standing there watching him walk past you, you're standing there watching him walk past you and making sure you know what he looks like for a reason. I'm sorry. And nobody's I'd be damned if I could go and sleep in a room for 8 hours knowing there's somebody unalived in the house. But yes, there's a lot of questions, so many questions and very little answers to these things. And I understand that. Yep, some of it has to be withheld. But if you look at most other cases, when they have evidence, they put out pretty strong evidence or pieces that you can put to key pieces, put together, not pieces, and go, you know what? Yep, I think he's guilty. And I'm with you, Donna. There's neither side that can be absolute in this case. I don't feel secure in saying he's guilty, and I don't feel secure in saying he's not guilty. What I believe is out of it, but just as what is out, without any, how do I say this, emotion into what I think about Brian himself, you couldn't find this guy guilty or not guilty. You would like to think he's guilty. Why? Because the police have arrested him. The grand jury, wasn't that the prosecutor? It was prosecution that took it to a grand jury. It's the defense team that wants the transcripts for it, and actually they were awarded, weren't they? The judge passed them that she could have them. So they'll know what they presented to the grand jury, I'm guessing, depending on what they redact from it, which apparently is only meant to be the jury that was there. No, Daisy, that was done by prosecution because his preliminary hearing was supposed to be done, and taking it to a grand jury kind of wipes that out. And then there's this whole thing that if they fight the grand jury, does it, and it's dismissed, does it then take it back to a preliminary hearing? And that's the same as here, Donna. And that's the big thing. You know, America pushes innocent until proven guilty. Well, you're not doing a good job about it, neither is mainstream media. That's my biggest oomph at this point, is the whole, they make it sound like what they're saying is absolute. They don't have to say, in my opinion, or this is only speculation. They're making it sound like this is what they certainly 100% know about him. But why do they keep pushing it? Like no other case. And I'm sure if it was their son that was picked up on what we know as evidence just on this little bit, they would be screaming the same thing, and they would want everybody, no matter who you are, if this was your loved one, you would want to make 100% sure that They had dotted all their I's and crossed all their T's, and they most certainly can prove that he did do it, or that he didn't do it, that he wasn't being set up. For the sake of the ones that are no longer with us, their families deserve that. They deserve for them to do this properly. That's right, Donna. There was supposedly, not that I still don't think Kaylee was in the room with Madison. I think she was in her own room with the dog, but that's me. But that's how it most certainly should be. A person should be innocent until proven guilty, not guilty and then have to prove themselves innocent. Things shouldn't be made up about them. Or we all should have the right to question everything without feeling like we're going to be attacked or people come down on us for it, because that's what we do. If we all just sat there and believed everything we were told, then boy, we'd be in a lot of trouble. Things wouldn't get done. Things wouldn't change. If you don't look at this case and critically think about it and pick it apart, any case, not just this case, pick apart what they're saying about it, pick apart what they've said in the past about it, go over it, go through pull it apart, put it back together again, find out different facts about it, then nothing changes for the next person. The system doesn't become better. Yeah, so they would get what they presented as evidence there. They're not allowed to, I know they're not allowed to know any of the jurors' names or the judges either, because that's what a grand jury is. And if you're sitting on that grand jury, you're not allowed to even say anything about you going there. But we won't know, that's for sure, because they can't disclose because of the gag order. Unless, like things are happening in the past, something gets leaked. But I don't think they're going to take the risk with this. I don't think Anne and Nat will anyway. I think she's not going to make him slip up in this case. It's just I say the same thing about the Wells, right? Can anybody say absolutely they're guilty? No. There are variables in that case. The first report I heard about that was Summer walking down the driveway, according to her brother. So what if she did walk down that driveway and it was a heat of the moment thing? Somebody drove past her and went, yep, grabbed her because Mum was out. That's why she went looking for her. Do I think they had something to do with it? Or Candace? Yep, I do. Do I like Don? No way. I don't like him at all. I don't like what he stands for. I don't like who he is. I don't like the parent he is. I don't like the parent she is. I don't like the way they treated their children. All that. And that's what we don't want, Daisy. We don't want. I don't know. Donna, are you on live chat opposed to top chat? Yeah, Wisdom, I do too. I believe they both know. But can we say for sure? Oh, then I don't know why you're not seeing everybody's love. That is strange. Oh, Summerwell's parents, Daisy. Don and Candace. I was just using that as a, like this case, you have to question everything and you have to look at, there could be a off chance that child walked down the road and crime of opportunity. Yep, that's right. None of us agree with anything of the people they are. Oh, come on. But can you say absolutely they did something to Summer? You can think it, but you can't say absolutely 100%. We would like to. But just because we don't like who they are doesn't make them guilty. It makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up and it gives you more reason to believe they're guilty, but doesn't make them guilty. It doesn't change the variables that could have happened. And if you're only looking at that case at one way, then you're doing the wrong thing, because you need to look at it always and all possibilities, because one, Summer has not been found, so we don't know what happened to her and where she ended up. So at this point, you have to bring in all the variable things that could have happened. Yep. And there you go. So many cases. But like I said, it's never going to change unless we're doing exactly what we're doing. Looking at things that don't make sense and questioning it. Trying to get questions answered. Trying to put our heads together and work out what's wrong with what we're looking at. What's right with what we're looking at. What makes sense, what doesn't make sense. We just don't know. Some cases aren't that questionable. I understand that, especially in arrests and that, but one would hope that we still question the evidence, still look at it, still pick it apart. You know, Letitia Stout was a perfect example of that. So, Laurie Vallow, thank God they're no longer, they're done and dusted and very deserving of it. But yeah, in this day and age, they need to get it right. They need to be absolute and make sure that they can come with the evidence to back up what they're saying, not just talk. Oh, was she? Oh my God, was she really cleared? What the? Really? How was she cleared when she said what she said? Wow, that's blown me away. I don't understand how she got cleared. Wow. What'd she do? Stand there and go, oh, sorry, I was just joking. Oh, I thought that's what happened. Don't get that at all. Don't get it at all. I have to go and find that out now. Thank you, Donna. That's kind of shocked me. Oh my God. So does that mean they have to throw out what she said about her boyfriend if they cleared her? They would have to. Now you got me thinking, Donna. I would think that they would have to it doesn't make sense. Well, if they clear her, they have to clear him because she was the one that said she saw him. That's just weird. I'm like, wow. Poor Brandy. All these poor children. So I thought I would have heard of an arrest for Ronan at least by today. Still nothing. So come on, guys, let's get a move on. Surely. Well, my lovely people, thank you all for joining me. Hopefully next time we can get some more people in here. Keep pushing. But I enjoyed the company and I enjoyed each and every one of you being here. I thank you all so very much for all your support. I missed you all so much. And like I said, I am very sorry. I am glad I'm back. I enjoy this. I love hearing from each and every one of you. You guys are absolutely incredible people, incredible survivors. I love you all. You are all beautiful. Remember that. Beauty is not just in looks. It comes from the inside. Love and life. You have support here anytime, sweetheart. If you're finding it hard or need a shoulder to cry on or somebody to talk to, please reach out to any one of us here. Stay strong, sweetheart. In saying that, loving light to each and every one is. I missed you all so much. Glad to be back, guys. And we will build this channel up. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. And I'll see you soon, guys. Thanks for turning up for me. Bye.